A group of physicists in Los Angeles have come up with a new theory of reality, and it's based on periodic patterns or crystals. Crystals can be of different shapes, but also of different dimensions. Even more so, a higher dimensional crystal can be projected to create a pattern in a lower dimension. The resulting pattern is called a quasi-crystal. Physicists took a specific 8D crystal, projected it to 4D at a certain angle. From it, they have driven a 3D quasi-crystal, which they believe is a substructure of all reality. The fundamental building block of this 3D quasi-crystal is called a tetrahedron, or a three-dimensional triangle with all its sides of the same length. And this length is the smallest theorized unit of length in existence, called the Planck length, which is 10 to the minus 20 times the size of a proton. If an atom was the size of the Earth, a Planck length would be about the size of a proton. This is where it gets spooky. According to their theory, just like digital displays consist of the smallest units of a digital image, pixels, a tetrahedron is a 3D pixel of our reality. Each tetrahedron has just a few states in which it can exist, and the state of one tetrahedron defines the state of other tetrahedrons that fill the entire space of the universe. But if a tetrahedron can only be in one specific state in a given moment, who or what dictates the state it should be in? Physicists all across the globe believe that reality is made of information. But what is information? Information is meaning expressed through symbols. But meaning is nothing else but comparison or an ability to perceive something relative to something else. And if so, comparison and meaning require choice. In other words, consciousness. So just like when we know what the properties of an entangled particle are when we measure them, meaning or information can only exist when it's perceived or measured. If all of this is true, reality could be a product of consciousness. But there's also another idea for our existence. The simulation hypothesis, suggested by the Oxford philosopher Nick Bostrom. And some scientists believe the odds we live in a simulated reality are 50-50. So, if we were somehow able to prove we're living in a simulation, how would we do it? We'd have to start with the idea that the hardware which created the simulation doesn't have infinite computing power, because otherwise it wouldn't be possible to distinguish our reality from a virtually created one. Put differently, we wouldn't be able to notice any glitches. So scientists are looking for ways to make a simulation reveal itself with experiments that would create an overload on a theoretical computer with finite computing resources. Meanwhile, other scientists are finding other proofs. All computing hardware leaves an artifact of its existence inside the simulated reality it is running. So there should be a limit to the processing speed of operation per certain amount of time. And it happens that we have such an artifact in our universe, the speed of light, which remains the same regardless of the observer. It has an upper limit, and it cannot be explained by physics. So we may not know what kind of a computer is running our simulated reality or what properties it has, but there's one thing we can say for sure. If it performed one operation per second, its memory container size for the variable space would be roughly 300,000 kilometers. Perhaps we have this light speed limit because otherwise we would be able to travel to another galaxy before this computer could program it.